Hey everybody. As you all heard, Meathead released a post tonight about Relic Delta, a playtest that is ongoing throughout CG with some of the players and the content creators. And if you're listening to this tonight, you may be someone who actually watched my live stream, which was about an hour long, where we talked about Relic Delta and what it is and what it means. But I also know that not everybody wants to sit and watch a hour long live stream of a stream of consciousness asking questions and answering questions and repeating myself. So I'm filming this more to get the information out in a more condensed way for players that are curious about Relic Delta. And I can confirm that I am part of the playtest of players who are allowed to discuss these changes. So let's watch my floating avatar fly through space and we'll talk about it. Okay, so Relic Delta. This is a playtest that started last night. It is less than 24 hours old. It is something that we've just got to play around with. These are initial testing parameters. And before we actually begin, I want to stress a couple of things. One, we were given full permission to discuss everything that we were told and everything that we see currently in game. Two, we were given zero permission to actually show off the client, show off battles, or show any type of visual with the client. So yes, this is going to be just a face cam video. And if you want to read the actual post that Meathead posted, you can probably find it on just about every game related Discord. And three, this is, to my knowledge, the first playtest that has happened for CG, for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, since the Datacron leak that happened about 3 or 4 years ago. And that was a travesty because it shut down the playtesting cycle, it shut down the playtesting team, and it basically insulated the members of the CG team against the player base and the content creators. So the fact that this even exists and the fact that we are allowed to talk about it and the fact that they are putting their trust in us as prominent members of the community is a big deal. I also do want to stress before we begin that CG and the team that we talked to about this um, is very amicable to changes. Now, I know people in the comments are going to say things like, change this, change that. That's not how it works, right? Constructive criticism happens from within the game and from discussing things that we see in the game and how things interact in the game. And while I am happy and open to help with that testing for the players, and if you have comments, you can talk about them on my Discord or in the comments here. All of the feedback that they are looking for are from the people who are actually dealing with the client. I do fully expect things to change. I do fully expect our feedback to be heard. I am excited to be part of this playtest. And from talking to the people in CG who are part of this, they are so very open to our feedback. I know that the players who already know about Relic Delta because they watched my live stream or saw Arnold or Scribe or whatever else, they're getting a very negative perception, and I don't think that that's necessarily wrong. But I do want to stress that the fact that CG is allowing us to talk about this on an unknown timeline, right? Like we don't really know when this would release, but the fact that they're allowing us to talk about this so openly and so early is suggesting to me that the numbers that we are given are kind of like just the numbers that are there now, and it'll change greatly. So, what is Relic Delta? Relic Delta is basically the interaction between relic levels. This is a system that already exists in the game between player levels, but it's something that we don't really notice because the game doesn't really exist before level 85, right? So if a level 77 attacks a level 79, there are going to be some fudging of the damage calculations on both sides. This happens in pretty much every massive multiplayer game. If your level cap is level 60 in WoW, for example, you might notice that enemies or bosses in raid dungeons are like level 63, and you're thinking, well, why does that matter? And it's because of this delta that happens on the back end. So Relic Delta is going to be a damage and damage reduction uh, on damage based on the relic interactions between two characters. So the higher your relic level, in comparison to the enemy relic level, the more damage you will do to them. Right now, those damage numbers are based off of a maximum of 4 total relic levels, right? So a relic 9 attacking a relic 5 is going to be the same as a relic 9 attacking a relic 1, exactly the same. But a relic 5 versus a relic 9 is going to be different than a relic 6 versus a relic 9. These calculations happen on offense, and they also happen on damage received. Okay, so right now in the game, those numbers are set at 20% for 1 relic level difference, 45% for 2 relic level difference, 75% for 3 relic level difference, and 90% for a 4 relic level difference. So a relic 9 attacking a relic 5 will do 90% more damage and will receive 90% less damage from that source of damage. This is supposed to happen in all sources of damage where a character is dealing the damage themselves. So, as far as I am aware from initial testing, it is supposed to affect drain health with Malik, though I think that might be broken right now. I'm not 100% sure. It should affect massive damage and like raise ultimate from what I have seen in my initial testing. But it will not affect sources of a character doing damage to itself. So, for example, plague or dots or thermal detonators, where the trigger is that the character is hurting themselves at the beginning of the end of turn, those things will be completely unaffected. Um, this system will affect PvP and it will affect PvE. I know right now in PvE, relic levels are obfuscated, so you don't see them. But we are told that, for TB, the relic level you are required to be at for a planet is the relic level of those characters. So, I'm looking at this as my 5 planet day on day 4 is going to become a lot faster when my Relic 8 teams are hitting, some of the Relic 7 planets still, or like my Gungan team, which is Relic 9, is hitting an R8 planet. It'll speed up the damage that they're doing and speed up the battles, which is really nice. We're also told that this will affect the raid, and in a similar fashion, the relic level required to join the raid will also be the relic level of the bosses in that raid. This is actually a very big positive for players, especially on the lower end, who maybe only have Tarkin at Relic 7 and they're doing 300k damage. Now maybe you can go to the Relic 3 tier and do 90% more damage and get 900k instead of 300k. So there's a big positive there. It is going to, as far as we know, also affect Conquest, which has some positives and negatives to it. The lower levels of conquest for most players will be a little bit easier. The higher levels may be a little bit harder. Some of the battles might go too fast for debuffs and buffs. Killing things with an undermanned character in order to get kills with them may be a little bit harder. CG is aware of these things. We have brought that to their attention, but it is not something that we have specifically been able to test yet. As of right now, we are testing in GCs, so in Galactic Challenges. We've been set up with Galactic Challenges against a bunch of really top tier teams at all of the Relic levels. Those teams do not have mods on them, so it is hard to gauge a full disposition of how a team will feel, but it does kind of give us a good idea of what damage feels like and what reduced damage feels like. We were told that we will be able to eventually test things in different game mode scenarios. So with like TW Omicron's active, GAC Omicron's active, we were told that maybe it'll be possible to get some raids activated to be able to test the raids and see how that feels. But as of right now, again, the test is literally 12 hours old, and we don't have that information. This system will not affect ships. We were told it will not affect ships right now. Well, I say right now. They said it will not affect ships. Nothing. There's no right now in there other than what I'm saying. Let's see. Is there anything else in here? Own account. Blah blah blah. Yeah. So we are testing with our own accounts, and those of us who have alt accounts, their alt accounts are able to be imported in so that they can test with lower levels. And we were told they may be able to do some things to allow us to move levels around and try different scenarios out. But again, it's less than 12 hours old. My initial thoughts right now are that the numbers are too high. And I very fully expect those numbers to change. I very fully expect those numbers to be reduced. So I know players in the community who know about this already are freaking out about that 90% number. I think it is insanely high, and through some of my testing, I've been able to do some silly things with just Wampa in Squad Arena or GC related battles. Based off of very limited testing, I expect those numbers. I would really like to see those numbers somewhere around 5%, 15%, 25%, and 40%. Should they be higher than that? Maybe. I haven't done enough testing yet. Should they be lower than that? Maybe. I haven't done enough testing yet, but I really think that is about where it should be right now. I also think that there is a disparity when it comes to offense and defense, and that the offense calculation and the defense calculation should maybe be different, and the reduced damage that players receive should maybe be lower than the offense amount that they are increased. Scribe and I were talking about the damage numbers, and he brought that up. So I do want to give him credit for that, for saying that, and I do fully agree with it. And I know that he posted a video as well. I'm not going to react to it, guys. Calm down. I haven't seen it yet. I'm not sure if he made fun of me at all, but I do agree with him on that point when it comes down to it. Right now, that's really all we know. And I do want to stress something. I know that right now the community is flipping out. And I just want to say that, one, if you have negative thoughts about this, please feel free to express them. Just do it in a constructive way. Do it in a reasonable way. Do it in a problem-solving way. Don't do it in a destructive way. Don't be rude. Don't be mean. Everybody at CG, they are people too. Do it in a way that is friendly. Do it in a way that makes sense. Do it in a way that CG will be receptive of. But also keep in mind that there are players here who are testing and getting their feedback out. And CG has said that, hey, we are going to be making changes almost daily based on the things that you said. And we are allowed to talk about those changes. And I'm sure all of us will keep you updated on those changes, either through videos or through our discords, and maybe through joint statements. I don't know. But if you're going to say something, just do it. Think, what would Egnards do? How would Egnards approach this? Approach the problem from both sides. Hey, this is a business. They need to make money. Hey, I'm a player that is enjoying a game. How can I make this work for both of us? If you approach it like that, CG will be far more receptive. And they are being very receptive to our feedback. And I promise you, as a player that people trust to be objective, and as a player that people trust to give value on things in the game, and as a player who has really tried to cultivate myself as being reasonable and level-headed, and friendly and approachable, that I am going to approach this in the same way to make sure that when this change is released, that it will be equitable for everybody involved. With that said, if you have questions, if you have comments, if you have suggestions on things that should be tested, I have set up a very specific portion of my Discord for people to talk about and ask me and get me to look into things. So please utilize those resources in a way that reminds you that none of us are being paid. None of us get crap out of this other than trying to make the game that we love the best version of the game that we love. So with that said, peace out and have a great rest of your night.